The AFC West has a new Darren, but his last name does not end with Sproles. It is Waller, ladies and gentlemen.
Down in 11. And Carr goes to a tight end, Darren Waller. One to watch. He gets a first down, wending his way into Viking territory.
So basically, Darren Waller has been the unsung hero for the Oakland Raiders this year so far. But a lot of people do not know who Darren Waller is. So in this video, we're going to get more in depth of who Waller is as a player, and we're going to talk about how he went from being an invisible wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens to a star tight end for the Oakland Raiders. Now, where is my intro?
There ain't no grave can hold my body down. There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Darren Waller was born in Landover, Maryland, home to a team that is way too talented to be 1-5. Darren is related to a jazz legend, Fats Waller. Darren was raised in Colorado and in Georgia. He went to North Cobb High School in Kennesaw, Georgia, and played wide receiver and defensive back, and was a 3-star prospect. He ended up going to Georgia Tech as a wide receiver, and his stats may not shock you as a stat head, but when you are part of a team that runs the ball 99.99.99.99% of the time, I mean, you can't blame them. But you have to admit that Georgia Tech does breed some of the biggest and most athletic wide receivers in the NFL.
To the end zone, flow toward the end zone. Thomas with a one-handed catch, touchdown Denver, the catch of the year by Demaryius Thomas.
Stafford dials up the deep ball, one-on-one. It's caught. Megatron is back.
Darren Waller was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in the 6th round in the 2015 NFL Draft and was expected to be a big athletic red zone target for the Ravens, with him being 6'6", 238 pounds, and to top it all off, he ran a 4.4 at the combine. I mean, that sounds like first round intangibles. Now, this kid, Darren Waller, had a shaky start to his NFL career. In his first year in Baltimore, he was placed on IR on October 29th, and he was done for the rest of the year. In the 2016 season, he changed his position to tight end. But besides making a positive change to the tight end position, Darren Waller did not have a good start to the 2016 NFL season because on July 1st, he was suspended the first 4 games for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy. In 2017, the drug addictions continued for Darren Waller. On June 30th, 2017, Darren Waller was once again suspended by the NFL for violating the substance abuse policy, but this time, the suspension was for the entire season. Now, being a low draft pick and having all these problems with substance abuse and injuries, you would think this guy's career would be over. I mean, he admitted that he was high every day for 2 years.
Smoke weed every day.
But God had other plans for Darren. After Waller got reinstated by the NFL, the Ravens demoted him to the practice squad, and after not making the Baltimore Ravens roster, the Raiders signed Darren Waller off the Ravens practice squad. You know, when you really want to change your life, there are 2 things you can do that can lead you out of a dark place, and that's admitting your problems, then taking actions to change it. Darren knew he had a drug problem and he had to make a choice, and he had to do it fast before his NFL career diminished. And that's what he did. He was open about his addiction, he acknowledged the problem, and he took action. When Darren Waller was for the Baltimore Ravens, he admitted that he was more self-centered. He said after the NFL suspended him for the entire year, shortly after that, he was in his car taking drugs, and when he was taking drugs, he realized that it was laced with the powerful drug called fentanyl. And we all know fentanyl is a powerful drug with a lot of side effects. He said he felt like he was going to die. This was Darren's last time taking drugs, and this was his wake-up call. Darren quoted, "I feel like just once my life shifted as far as what I was doing, getting clean and things like that, I feel like I got in touch with my conscience more. Before, it was like I was taking days for granted. Now I don't know how many chances I'll have. So why not play like every day could be your last?" Now, the Raiders tight end coach, Frank Smith, said that when Darren arrived to the Oakland Raiders, you can tell that his mind was in a different place. Darren Waller did not care what role he had on offense, just as long as it helped the team win. In Darren's first year with Oakland, he learned as much as he could from his mentor Jared Cook. In the 2018 season, he had 6 catches for only 75 yards. But you have to understand that this was a learning year for Darren Waller, and he had been out of football for like a year or so he was just basically getting his feet wet. When Jared Cook was no longer a Raider, there were a lot of questions going into the tight end position. So in 2019, the Raiders drafted Foster Moreau to add depth to the tight end position. In the 2019 offseason, the Raiders on paper seem to have one of the weakest tight end cores in the NFL. Even though Waller appeared to be athletic, you did not know what to expect from him. Mr. Foster the People Moreau, had a decent college career, but it was not like he was TJ Hawkinson. And then the Raiders had Luke Wilson for a short stint. So, you didn't really know what to expect from their tight ends. And then when the Raiders had Antonio Brown for a short period of time, everybody was thinking that the Raiders would throw the ball to Antonio Brown or Tyrell Williams most of the time. So a lot of people, thought that the tight ends were going to be irrelevant within that offense. But the Oakland Raiders knew what they were doing, and they had trust in their tight ends.
As far as like how big my role would be, but that if my work was there and I was staying clean and being consistent with what I was doing, that my role would increase at some point.
Did you feel any kind of, pressure to now that you're in this situation?
Of course, the pressure is going to increase as I accept like a bigger workload in the offense, a larger role. So I expect that pressure, and I have to accept it in order to thrive in it.
Darren Waller emerged himself as a leader for that team, and after having a great offseason, after all the hard work that he has put into the offseason, it really seems like it's paying off now. Right now, he is third in the AFC in receiving yards for a tight end. In Darren Waller's entire career with the Baltimore Ravens, he only had 103 receiving yards. In his first 5 games with the Oakland Raiders, he has already tripled that with 359 receiving yards. He has the highest catch rate of any tight end this year, thanks to having the most accurate quarterback in the NFL.
Darren Waller, don't cover me, it's terrible.
Darren Waller has impressed the Oakland Raiders organization to the point where they gave him a contract extension, a 3-year, $27 million deal. To me, that seems like a win for a guy that has been going through a lot of problems in the earlier part of his career. Now, you guys may be looking at this video and, you may think to yourself like, man, game-winning drive, you're overhyping this guy, Darren Waller. This guy has only played 5 games and you guys are already acting like he is the second coming. Yes, I'm aware that injuries can happen, etc. But I like this guy's story because he has a story of perseverance. And I believe that, he can motivate a lot of younger kids that play football, people who are in college and they feel that maybe they don't have a chance at the NFL. This proves that when you see opportunity, and if opportunity comes knocking, through your door and you take advantage of your opportunity, you never know what you can become. I mean, this guy, was a no-show and now look at him. So I'm going to continue to make stories and videos like this to inspire, people that watch my channel. I mean, John Gruden said that Darren is an inspiration to the team and people who deal with substance abuse. ESPN don't talk about stories like this. Instead, they say,
which quarterback is more important to his team's success, Watson or Mahomes?
Like we give a
things we keep inside. I know I'll be alright. I'll fight with will and time. Yeah, I won't lose mine. Wake up and every day told me a promise that I would make it one day as an artist. Music's the only thing keeping me honest. I know that I want it, I'm hoping I got it. Addicted to all this remotely melodic. See how some people become alcoholics. Addiction is real but mine isn't as toxic. Although sometimes I feel a little psychotic. I know that I got it in me. Can't stop what's in me to the top. Believe me, I'm not resisting. It's all beginning. I'm all but willing to break.